December 12, 2014. A 15-year-old boy walks through the familiar woods of Economy Borough, Pennsylvania, taking a shortcut to a deer processing plant. It's a Friday afternoon. Just another winter day in this quiet town, a place where crime is almost non-existent, where everyone knows their neighbors. But what he's about to find will haunt this community for the next decade, and counting. The boy sees something in an overgrown field, about 30 feet from Mason Road. At first, he thinks it's deer remains. Hunters had been active in these woods. But as he gets closer, his heart drops. It's a human head. Just sitting there, on top of the fallen leaves. He immediately calls 911. Officer Michael Janektic arrives first. Like everyone else, he thinks it's a prank. Some sick joke by local kids. But when he walks down that embankment and looks closely, it's real. Gray hair. Carefully combed. A woman, probably in her 60s or 70s. Her skin has this strange, waxy quality to it. Her mouth slightly open. Eyes closed. And here's where it gets truly bizarre. She looks preserved. Almost like she's been prepared for a funeral viewing. Police Chief Michael O'Brien would later say, "It was something that I had never seen, as well as the other officers that were there." But the real horror? This was just the beginning. When the medical examiner arrived and began his examination, he discovered something that made even seasoned investigators recoil. He lifted the woman's eyelids, expecting to find the normal plastic eye caps used in embalming. Instead, he found small red rubber balls. The kind you'd get from a 25-cent bubblegum machine. Sitting where her eyes should have been. The funeral directors they consulted? None of them had ever heard of this practice. Not in 40 years. Not once. This wasn't standard procedure. This wasn't medical school protocol. This was something else entirely. Immediately, a massive search operation launches. 50 people, police officers, firefighters, search and rescue teams, cadaver dogs, combing through those woods. Because if there's a head, there must be a body, right? They found nothing. No body parts. No blood. No evidence of violence. Just a head. Carefully placed on top of freshly fallen leaves, as if someone wanted it to be found. The medical examination revealed even stranger details. The head had been severed after embalming. The cuts were precise on the inside, through the spinal cord, through the arteries. Clean. Professional. Someone with anatomical knowledge did this. But on the outside? The cuts were jagged, rough. Almost like two different people had worked on her. Or someone was trying to cover their tracks. Toxicology found traces of heart medication in her system. She likely died of natural causes, cardiac failure. So this wasn't murder. At least, her death wasn't. But her head was stolen. Separated from her body. And dumped in the woods with those haunting red rubber balls in her eye sockets. DNA testing failed. The embalming fluid had degraded it beyond recognition. Dental records led nowhere. Facial reconstruction artists created sketches, even a full bust, hoping someone would recognize her. But to this day, she has no name. She's just Jane Doe. A woman who lived 60, maybe 70 or 80 years. She had a life. Probably children. Maybe grandchildren. And now she's a mystery without a face, without a family, without even her eyes. Then there's Jay Grabner. And this is where the story takes a dark, twisted turn. Jay lived directly across the street from where the head was found. And from the moment police began their investigation, Jay was involved. Very involved. The day after the discovery, during the massive search operation, Jay came down from his house. Approached the officers. Started offering theories. Lots of theories. One theory in particular caught everyone's attention. Jay thought the 15-year-old boy who found the head was responsible. He insisted the kid must have planted it there himself, then called 911. Chief O'Brien noticed something off about Jay. He described him as someone who had to be the center of attention and had to be listened to. His statements were odd. Too detailed. Too invested. Investigators dug deeper into Jay's background. What they found was disturbing. Jay Grabner was an expert in the sale and trade of human body parts. He had extensive knowledge about the black market for organs and cadavers, a shadowy industry where body brokers sell parts for medical research, sometimes illegally, sometimes to the highest bidder. Heads could fetch $500. And in his basement? Jay kept his deceased dog, Jackie, in a freezer. Double-bagged. Freeze-dried. He told police this casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world. But here's what sealed his fate as the prime suspect. Reporter Blake Morrison got a tour of Jay's house. Upstairs, in a room overlooking the woods, was a telescope. Blake looked through it, and it pointed directly at the exact spot where the head was found. Jay could watch that location from his window. Day or night. And investigators believed he did exactly that, placed the head there and watched through his telescope to see who would find it. The pieces started connecting in a disturbing way. Investigators learned that Jay and the 15-year-old boy used to be friends. Close friends, even. Until they had a falling out. Jay swore revenge. Shortly after their friendship ended, the boy's horse, a beautiful animal named Ginger, was found stabbed to death in the woods. Near Jay's property. The boy suspected Jay. But there was no proof. Then, months later, that same boy finds a severed human head. In those same woods. Across from Jay's house. In a spot visible from Jay's telescope. Coincidence? Detective Andrew Morrison didn't think so. He asked Jay to take a polygraph test. Jay became angry but eventually agreed. 3 questions. Did you place that severed head in that field? Did you plan with anyone to place that severed head there? Do you know how that head got there? Jay answered no to all 3. The polygraph examiner's conclusion? There was a 99.9% chance Jay was lying. About everything. But polygraphs aren't admissible in court. They needed more. Concrete evidence. A confession. Something. Morrison sat down with Jay to discuss the results. Jay maintained his innocence. Insisted he had nothing to do with it. And then, the investigation hit a wall. September 30, 2020. 6 years after the head was discovered. Jay Grabner drove his pickup truck onto the Ohio Turnpike. He pulled up along an overpass. And then he waited. As a truck approached below, Jay jumped. He died instantly. He was 70 years old. Detective Morrison's words echo the heartbreak of this case. My best lead is gone. He was the last string I had in solving this case. Was it guilt? Was Jay haunted by what he'd done? Or was there something else, something we'll never know? The truth died with him on that overpass. But Jane Doe, she still had no name. On the 1-year anniversary of finding her head, police held a funeral. Chief O'Brien, the detectives, the officers who worked the case, they all attended with their families. They buried her head in a full-size casket. The coroner made sure of that. A full-size casket. So that if they ever find the rest of her body, she can be reunited as a whole. Somewhere out there, a woman's body is missing its head. And somewhere out there, a family is missing their mother, their grandmother, their wife, and they don't even know it yet. So who was she? Was she a body donor whose remains were illegally sold on the black market? Was she a victim of a deranged neighbor's twisted game? Did J. Grabner kill her? Did he just dispose of her head? Or is there something even darker we haven't discovered yet? The red rubber balls remain the most haunting detail. No one in the funeral industry uses them. No medical school does either. They were traced back to bubblegum machines, mass-produced in China, sold everywhere. Untraceable. If you have any information about this case, if you recognize the facial reconstructions, if you remember someone in your family going missing in 2014, if you know anything that could finally give this woman her name, please contact the Economy Borough Police Department in Pennsylvania. There's a $10,000 reward. She deserves to be remembered. She deserves to be reunited with her body. She deserves her dignity back. And somewhere, a family deserves to know the truth.